In Florence, Colorado, 2 hours outside of Denver, a Supermax jail exists. It is the most secure prison in America. No prisoner has escaped from the facility, often known as the ADX, since it opened in 1994, which is why the U.S. government knows for sure that the Sinaloa cartel drug leader Joaquin Guzman, aka El Chapo, will spend the rest of his life there. El Chapo escaped twice from Mexico's maximum security jails, once by building a mile-long tunnel from his cell. In today's video, we'll show you how the Houdini of drug lords accomplished his amazing escape. But first, hit the subscribe button as we get right into it. El Chapo was born into a poor family in the rural village of La Tuna in Sinaloa State, northwest Mexico, as the oldest of 7 children. Emilio Guzman Bustillos and Mara Consuela Loera Perez, his parents, made a living as farmers. His father was a cattle rancher who was also suspected of being an opium poppy farmer. At the age of 15, he began his career in organized crime by cultivating his own marijuana farm with his cousins. He then got the moniker El Chapo, which is Mexican slang for shorty. Guzman fled La Tuna in his late teens to pursue a career in drug trafficking. Guzman became a drug lord over time, and his cartel became one of the largest drug traffickers in the United States. In 2009, he was ranked 701 on Forbes' list of the richest men, with a net worth of $1 billion. As his fortune and business expanded, so did his problems with law enforcement investigation. In a turf fight with competing drug dealers, a Roman Catholic cardinal was shot dead. Guzman was one of those responsible, and the Mexican government set a bounty on his head. His mustachioed face began to appear in newspapers and on television screens. He was captured in Guatemala within weeks and sentenced to 20 years in jail on conspiracy, drug trafficking, and bribery charges. El Chapo decided in early 2001 that he didn't want to be in prison any longer. He had been imprisoned at Puente Grande, a maximum security prison outside of Guadalajara, and he'd been doing fine at Puente Grande, enjoying many of the same comforts he had on the outside. Good food, women, volleyball, and unlike his life on the outside, he even got to sleep in the same bed every night. Much of this was due to his support for Damaso Lopez Nuez, who had taken over as Deputy Director of Security in 1999 and had been even more accommodating than his predecessor in ensuring that El Chapo's needs were met. El Chapo began showering money and gifts on Damaso as soon as he arrived. $10,000 in cash here, a house there. El Chapo paid for one of Damaso's children's medical bills after he was injured in an accident. Unfortunately for El Chapo, Damaso had left Puente Grande in the fall of 2000, leaving behind a cloud of suspicion and a government investigation into corruption that was far too late. On January 18, 2001, everything changed for El Chapo when the Mexican Supreme Court declared that the U.S. may extradite Mexican prisoners like El Chapo if the death penalty was removed from the equation. His worst nightmare, an American prison cell, had become a lot more real. Guzman climbed into a laundry trolley that was pushed all the way out of the jail by maintenance worker Javier Camberos. After loading the cart into the boot of a car, Camberos drove it to a gas station, where he went to the store, only to return to find Guzman had vanished. Camberos was sentenced to prison for his role in the scheme, but an investigation revealed that up to 78 others were possibly implicated, including the facility's director, who is currently in prison. Except for one guard, who is suspected of being executed 7 years later for reporting the escape, almost the entire prison staff was under El Chapo's control. Prison guards on his payroll allegedly assisted him in smuggling contraband and gave him special treatment. The drug boss was smuggling gold mined from rocks at the inmate workshop, so prison guards who would ordinarily examine the laundry basket were told to disregard it. The drug lord paid roughly $3 million in bribes to gain his freedom. El Chapo's freedom was cut short when he was apprehended by Mexican Marines in 2014 after 13 years on the run. His second prison break, which took place in July 2015, was probably even more fanciful than his first. His associates utilized GPS to dig a 1.5-kilometer tunnel precisely beneath his cell at the Altiplano prison in central Mexico. The escape was meticulously planned and executed. A construction site hid the exit, which featured ventilation, lighting, and steps. Guards neglected to respond after heavy hammering was heard from within Guzman's cell. For the second time, Guzman had embarrassed Mexico's administration, leaving then-President Enrique Nieto very concerned and outraged. His freedom, however, was only temporary. El Chapo was apprehended in a residence in an upscale section of Los Mochis, Sinaloa in January 2016. This time, his Achilles heel was his desire for Hollywood fame. He was contacting actors and directors in order to commission screenplays based on his life. His interaction with actors and producers provided a new line of inquiry for Mexico's Attorney General. He could have fled away to the mountains and lived when he escaped from prison in 2015. Instead, Guzman took the rare step of giving Hollywood actor Sean Penn an exclusive interview. It was a choice that may have cost him his freedom. El Chapo is currently doing time in prison and is unlikely to escape this time. While the drug lord remains hidden from public view, the drug enterprise is unlikely to fall apart. We have come to the end of today's video. What entices you most about El Chapo's prison break? Like and share the video with your friends. Don't forget to subscribe and ring the notification bell to stay tuned.